Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Hope you've got a good, nice cup of coffee ready to go today. We're on Abraham. We're beginning the transition. Uh, it is an interesting transition from the other parts of Genesis, how they tie together. We realize that the Tower of Babel, they tried to all live together. And they wanted to make themselves great. God confused their language, so they scattered out. And so Abram, or Abraham, is going to be called out of that area. He's coming from Ur, and he's going to end up in Canaan, which is modern day Israel, or the promised land of the Bible. And if you remember right, when Noah cursed Ham because of Ham's embarrassment of his father when he was naked and drunk, Noah did not curse Ham, but cursed his son Canaan, and basically said that his descendants would serve the descendants of his son Shem. And Abram is a descendant of Shem, and he's going to head that way. I'll remind you where he's going from to. We'll put a map up. In the lower right-hand corner, if you look at a place called Ur, this is a place, Babylon, which Babylon, if you remember, that's the same word for Babel, modern-day Iraq. There's Chaldea there, and then there's Ur down there, and that's where Abram's going to start from. He's going to go kind of take the Euphrates River. They're going to travel along there to Haran, which is in southeast Turkey today. And then they're going to come down to Canaan, or to modern day Israel. And you kind of sit on the map there. Today I want to read from Genesis chapter 12 when this happens. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." And so there's some things about this verse. He says, go from your country, go from what you know, go from what you understand, leave your father's household, and go to a land that I will show you. The call of Abraham involved the unknown. He didn't know where he was going. And to me, that's the call of God about anytime you follow God, you're not sure where he's taking you. You got to go by faith, and Abram did. It involved the unknown because he had never been to Canaan. He had never been to the land that God was going to show him. He'd never been there, but God's called him to go to there. And so he says, I want you to go to this land. It really also not only involved the unknown, it involved a sacrifice. His father's household's there. I mean, his father has died, but his aunt and uncle are there. The whole household, the whole clan is there in Haran. But God said, I want you to leave them. I want you to take your group and you go. And in verse 2, he gives him a promise. So God's call involved the unknown. It involved a sacrifice, which it always does. Anytime you follow God, it involves sacrifice. But it's also going to involve a promise. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Now remember, the Babylonians wanted to make themselves a great name. God says, I'm going to make you a great name. And he's coming from that area, but he's taking him out of that area, but he's going to make his name great. What they wanted at the Tower of Babel, God's going to do for Abram. And then he says in verse 3, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you will I curse. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. To me, this is one of the great turning points in the Bible. if you've studied ancient religions or if you've studied primitive religions, you know that they basically are based in curse. Their goal is to worship their gods, to appease the gods, so that if it's not raining, they want to appease the gods. I feel like they've done something that the god has cursed them. But they live under curse all the time. They're always trying to appease the gods so they won't be cursed. And it's really an interesting study. But this is the first time that we can see where a God wants to bless his people. And why not? Because it is the one true God. And we understand that it's not God's desire to curse people, but to bless people. He tells Abram, he says, I'm going to bless you, and I'm going to make you a great name, and I'm going to make you a great nation. And you'll be a blessing. Not only am I going to bless you, but I'm going to let you be a blessing to other people. He says, because those who bless you, they're going to get blessed. And whoever curses you, I'm going to curse. But he says, I'm going, and he says, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So he's telling Abram, I'm going to bless you, but you're going to be a blessing, and through you, I'm going to bless all people. And that was one of the calls that Abram followed, that he was going to be a blessing to all people. And in fact, I mentioned yesterday, but all three major religions go back to Abraham. Judaism goes back to Abraham. Islam goes back to Abraham. Christianity goes back to Abraham. We all go back to Abraham because of his faith in God and his believing the promise and living the promise, being a blessing. And that's what we've been called to be. We've been blessed. And of course, as Christians, we believe that blessing was fulfilled in Jesus Christ. That the blessing was a future Messiah. And God's Son coming to this earth and providing for us. And he did, and he provided salvation. But God has given us that same mission, that he's going to bless us, and then we need to bless others. Now, that's our calling, is to bless, to be a blessing for others, not a curse. When you're cursing, you're not of God. And you curse more than just by using bad language. You curse people when you discourage people, when you put people down, when you treat people without respect, when you don't help people that you can help. But you want to be a blessing to people. And that's one of the calls we all have, is to bless. And God gives us the power to bless. And that's what he's going to do with Abraham. And we're to fulfill that calling, and I hope you'll fulfill that calling today, to be a blessing. But first of all, you have to be blessed from God. And my prayer for you is that God will bless you today, and you'll walk in his presence, in his promise, and his blessing today. Thank you, and have a good day.